Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to install lowering springs on an R36 or any sort of B6 Passat. So we're going to be going from these boring stock springs to these much lower H&R lowering springs. So the first thing we want to do is remove this cover right here, which protects the wheel nuts. Once we have that removed, we just want to simply loosen the nuts off slightly. So once those wheel nuts are slightly loosened off, we're going to jack the car up from the frame of the car just under there, and we're going to also put a jack stand under there for added security, just in case the jack decided to fail for whatever reason. Now that we have the car jacked up and supported by a jack stand, we're just going to remove the wheel nuts completely and take the wheel off. Alright, so now that we've got the wheel removed, we are going to jack up from underneath the spring here to put some load on the spring to stop it from shooting out when we remove the bolt that holds it in. Alright, so I now have the rear suspension jacked up from the stand, you can see just there, and we can see just there is the bolt that we need to remove to release the rear spring. Now that we have that bolt removed, the suspension is actually free to come out. I like to just add a large bed sheet over the spring. That way, if it is to shoot out, it's completely dampened by the weight and size of that sheet. So I now have the sheet in there, and what you can't see is the sheet is actually tied back against itself behind the car, behind another part of the body. So there is no way this spring will come flying out. So now that we've done that, what we're going to do is just slowly lower the jack stand that we put under the suspension before, and then that will just make the spring loose enough that we can literally just pull it out with our hands. So the jack is now as low as it'll possibly go, so I'm going to remove the sheet and watch how easy this spring is to pull out. So now that we've removed the spring and we've removed this cap off the top of the original spring, we just want to slide this back onto our new H&R spring and just twist it on until it's nice and tight like so. And then simply install it. We want this compressed section of the spring to be upwards and this section here where it's not as compressed looking to be at the bottom. So simply just put it back in and then just repeat the steps we just did. So now we've got the new spring installed. We're just going to jack that jack back there, back up again, and put that bolt straight back in. Once we have the spring jacked back up and compressed, we're going to stick that bolt back in and torque it down to a similar torque to what you would do with your wheel nuts. Now that we've done that though, we're going to stick the back wheel back on, drop the car back down, torque up the wheels, and then take the handbrake off and take this for a little drive to let it settle in. And that's going to conclude the video. So make sure you take it for a little drive after this. It'll let it settle in and drop the car down even lower than what it will be sitting once you just initially put the wheels back on. I'll show you what that looks like after I take it for a quick drive, but that's basically how simple it is to install rear springs on a B6 Passat. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll show you what it looks like now once I've put the rear springs on. Alright, so there we are with the finished ride height at the rear of the R36, and it doesn't look super low, but it definitely is a drastic improvement over the factory suspension at the rear. So that's been showing you how to lower an R36 or a B6 Passat from the rear suspension. If you've enjoyed or learned something or learned how to do it, chuck a like on the video, subscribe to my channel because there'll be plenty more videos coming on this car soon. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next video.